Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And do I have a second, please? I'll second. Deputy Mayor will second. And now I will hand to you, Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is also at the end of its processes. It's not challenged now by any proceedings. It has been the subject of appeals through the unitary plan process over the last few years, but this is now able to be made operative, just this small block, and so we're looking to do that so that it can be made operative and then be included in the IPI, the NPSUD plan change in August. So it's pretty straightforward.
Thank you, Warren. Questions? Councillor Walker, please.
My understanding is that while the item indicates that the FAB area is no longer subject to appeal, my understanding is that they've never been subject to appeal. Isn't that the case?
They have earlier been subject to appeal, and that has not now been continued. So, so that's the part that we're making operative, just that small couple of blocks there.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for the question. It's been responded to. There being no further questions, the motion is before us to request staff, to have staff undertake the necessary statutory processes from here on in. It's moved and seconded. I'll put that to the vote. There's no discussion I'm hearing. I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
And to the contrary, please say no. And that matter is carried. Thank you. That is item 9. Thank you, Warren. The next is the matter of plan change 68, the addition of a tree at 8 Eglinton to the notable tree scheduled. I've got notice that Councillor Casey will move this and the Mayor will second. We've heard earlier that the Chair of the Albert Eden Board, Margie Watson, offered support for this. Tuila Young, Policy Planner, is before us again on this matter, and the purpose today is to make it operative. This is plan change 68 with the addition of this tree. Brief outline, Tuila.
Yes, good morning. So plan change 68 proposed the addition of a single pahutakawa at 8 Eglinton Avenue, Mount Eden, to the Auckland Unitary Plan's notable tree schedule, text and maps. So scheduling this pahutakawa would provide recognition of its identified values and protect the tree from inappropriate subdivision use and development as was originally intended. So the plan change has been through the submissions process. It's been heard by a hearing panel with the decision granting the plan change being notified on the 28th of April earlier this year. No appeals were received, and so this is now able to be made operative.
Thank you, Tuila. Any questions on this, members? Any at all? There being none, Councillor Casey and the Mayor have moved and seconded. The motion is before us, the A and the B, to approve the amendments, and then for the staff to undertake the
Can I make
usual.
a comment?
Absolutely,
Kathy.
Councillor Casey. In your hands.
Thank you. Oh, that's great. Well, look, this is really good news, and I want to say a few thank yous for it happening today. As you know, the Auckland City Council scheduled this tree, and it somehow slipped off when we did the unitary plan. And I want to say the first thank you to Mark Lockhart, who's a local resident who brought it to our attention. He realised that this tree was in imminent danger, and he advocated by email to myself and others. And my second thank you is to Phil Goff, because as soon as I brought the email to Phil's attention, he said, we made a mistake, we got to put it right. And so from there on, the Albert Eden Local Board completely supported it, the Planning Committee completely supported it. And here we have the end of that process today. My third big thank you is to our planning staff who needed to step into the breach. And, you know, that was that awful period between finding out it was unprotected and today when it will be protected in perpetuity, who stepped into the breach and made sure that this tree was protected. It's a historic, majestic tree. It has a special place in the minds, the hearts and minds of the people of Mount Eden, and it's now been protected in perpetuity. So thank you everybody who's been involved, but particularly to Mark. You should be very proud of yourself today. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Councillor Casey. And the Mayor.
Yeah, just very briefly, Mr Chair, thank you, and thank you to Cathy Casey for, getting onto this as soon as she was aware of it. And thank you to all of those who've been involved in the process. Look, this is a beautiful old tree. It's 150 years old. It's part of the history of that region. It's a notable landmark. In the original hearings, I think there were 160 submissions and 159 of them wanted this tree protected. And if more people had made submissions, the ratio of those being in favour of protection as against would have been even greater. It is good that we're protecting it. It'd be fantastic if we had a change to the Resource Management Act that gave us a wider ability to protect notable trees. That was taken out way back in, I think, 2014 by Nick Smith. We haven't yet been able to get it back. So therefore we have to list trees. This tree was listed. Its removal was simply a mistake, and it was really important to put this right as quickly as possible. So thank you to Ela and for all of the council staff that were involved in this. It's great that this will continue to be a landmark, I hope, for another 150 years.
Thank you, Mayor. And there being no further speakers, I will put those motions to the vote as I outlined earlier. All those in favour say aye.
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 Aye, big aye.
Aye.
And to the contrary, please say no. And the motion is carried. Thank you, members.
Woo!
That is item 10. We'll now go to item 11.